Today, we are going to be talking about the newest way to display and protect your comic books, and that is with comic capsules. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collectors Podcast. I'm your host, Dakota, here with my co host, Jordan, and today we are going to be talking about comic capsules, and they are the sponsor of today's video. They have kindly sent over 4 of their comic capsules, so we're going to be taking a look at those, and then we're going to be filling those with some comics and then shipping them out to you as giveaways. So we'll go ahead and give away how to enter the giveaway for this video right off the bat, but stick around because we may have some extra entries to get in. So first, always, all of our giveaways, you've got to be subscribed. So subscribe here on the Strong Collectors. You know, after you hit that subscribe button, it's not too far over to hit the like button. It's not required, but we appreciate when you hit the like button. And then put in the comments what comic you would put, if it's not the one that we send you, what you would want to put in the comic capsules to protect. So, Jordan, I don't think you have any graded comics, do you? Not like I have the beautiful ones displayed behind me.
No, I do not, Dakota. I've not quite taken that plunge. I do have quite a few comic books, but none that I've felt the pull to have graded at this point, or that I've purchased graded.
Now that makes sense because you and I are both kind of more readers of comics. Like you said, we collect. I've got several boxes of them, but we tend to read, lend them out to our friends, family members to read. But I still like to have...
you know me, Dakota, when I was young and getting comics, they were one and done for me. I thought they were like newspapers. You just tossed them out. So I've since evolved since then. But
yeah. So I think the plus side for me, and like probably the biggest thing about comic capsules, is that like you can still protect and display, because I think that graded comics look cool on display. Like I've got my trusty dusty Ironheart #1 here. So I like having her in the hard protection. You know, she's safe. It's 9.8. It's going to stay that way. But I'm never ever going to be able to read this comic again unless I want to bust this open and like greatly devalue it. But the comic that we're going to be giving away, Conan the Barbarian #1, the nice thing about comic capsules is I could display it. It comes with the wall mount, so I can put it up on the wall. It looks just as good as the graded comics. It just doesn't have that like 9.8 or whatever grade you get. But if I want to read this Conan the Barbarian, I just crack it open. That easy. I pull it out, and now I can read it. So I think that for me is the biggest draw for comic capsules, because you and I like to display. Like, this isn't my typical display. This is my temporary, trying to get a good background at my in-laws. But for somebody like you who maybe would want to like mount this or display it, I think it's kind of cool for us that are a little bit more action figure heavy to display maybe a key issue with that team of action figures.
Yeah, I like that idea too, just because it will protect them. And I have some comics that I wouldn't necessarily want to have graded. Like you said, I might want to look at them, or I just, it doesn't always even work for me. Like with my shelf behind me, if I were to display a graded comic, it might be a little difficult. And I have some things where I'll put them in like bags and boards and like have a stand for them. But I feel like it seems like a comic capsule would be a perfect way to work them into a display like the one we have behind us that you could use with like your figures, or you could, like you said, hang them on the wall. I do really love that they have the flip top thing where you can just open it and swap them out, because I think that's a pretty cool feature.
Yeah. And I think some, like, the bags and boards are good, which I think I put every single one of my comics I own in a bag and board, unless it's like I got it from Half Price Bookstore. But I'm at least protecting them that much. But I do have some better key issues. Like I've got the first appearance of Red Hulk. I know you've got the first Superior Spider-Man. Things that maybe aren't going to be like, you know, we don't have any Action Comics #1. But as far as like collecting within our lifetime goes, like those are some key issues that we'd like to kind of retain the value of. And putting those in comics capsules makes a little bit more sense. And the cool thing about comic capsules is they also fit in your like regular
Mm-hmm.
standard sized comic book box, which the graded
Mm-hmm.
comics from CGC don't. Like you're going to have it like lopsided. You're going to have to only have graded comics
Mm-hmm.
in there. All right. The other nice thing about Comic Capsules is like you can kind of see like if I hit it just right because I've got my like lights camera action for us right now, but in your
Bring out your
normal
beautiful
display room,
eyes.
exactly, I got to bring out my beautiful eyes. But in your normal display room, this is going to be a lot
Mm-hmm.
less glary than some of the cheaper products, because like you can get like there's levels to like bags and boards, and then there's the I don't remember what they're called, but you can get them for like $3, I think, some sort of
Mm-hmm.
protector. But those have like a lot of
Yeah.
glare to them. It's not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's an option out there, but Comic Capsules are nice for that.
Yeah, I like the fact that they don't have that glare going on, just because, like you said, that's something I think about. Like behind us, we have figures and displays with the lights and the comics. You know, when that happening. The other thing I think is cool is the UV protection, because while I hope to have one someday, Dakota, a whole room where I can dedicate it to my comics and toys. Do not have that yet, and being in an apartment with windows, it's nice to know that you're not going to have your comics getting sun damaged, and you're going to get that UV protection, because I think there's a lot of collectors that do have comics that are ending up displayed in that way, which you might not think that's a big deal, but I think over time those can
Mhm.
definitely fade them or do some damage to your books.
Right. And I think maybe we can get away with that a little bit because we kind of like to, since we have such a small space, but such a large, strong collection, we swap out some of our displays, keep things fresh. But if you do
Mm-hmm.
have kind of that, like, this is my set display and it's only going to get bigger from here, usually, like, once you set it there, it's going to stay for quite a while. That's kind of where you run into the sun
Mm-hmm.
damage, where, like I said, if I was going to display with my figures and my comics, I'd want a little bit more protection, and it just kind of like makes it
Mm-hmm.
look a little bit more premium without having to pay CGC to make it look super premium. The other
Mm-hmm.
nice thing, I can pull it up here again. They come in two options. You've got your black, so the top is black, or you can get the top clear. I think I would go with the black one, just because it makes it look a little bit nicer. But if you just kind of wanted it to blend into the wall, then I could see where clear
Mm-hmm.
would come in. Another cool thing about them is, in addition to just being able to pop the top, say for some reason you didn't trust yourself to slide it in. I know some of the older comics will not fit in bags and boards. So with your modern comics, put them in a bag and a
Mm-hmm.
board, and then put them in here, double protection. But the bigger ones don't fit with the bag and board.
Yeah.
Say I don't trust myself to like not
Mm-hmm.
nick a corner or something as I'm putting it in. You can pop it apart all the way down, and then it set the comic
Mm-hmm.
in, no risk,
Oh,
pop
there
it
you
back
go.
together. That's kind of another nice feature that
Slide right in.
I never would have thought to add to these if I was the one making them. Thankfully, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
But um,
Well, yeah, that way there's nothing like it's folded or bent over or
mhm,
whatever as you're taking them in and out.
right,
And then we did forget to mention the relief corners, Dakota,
true.
where there's a little bit of buffer in those corners.
Hmm.
You never know what happens. You're walking to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. You stumble into one of your many strong collector toy shelves. You knock a comic over. However, you don't need to worry about those corners getting damaged because the comic capsules thought of that. So I think
Hmm.
that's another cool feature that kind of shows you the way that these were designed
Hmm.
by comic people, like with collectors in mind. So
Right.
I think there's a lot of collector friendly features that you would just want to see in a protector for your books.
Yeah. I think maybe, I don't know if this is the last point, but it's kind of the one that I would think gets overlooked quite a bit. Like when we go to conventions or things like that, I tend to I don't know. I feel always awkward asking for action or like either action figure or comic book autographs. I think I told you that last time we went to New York Comic Con. I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I feel like, will you sign my book? Put your name here.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes that can like greatly increase the value of your book. Like
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get our Spawn #1 signed by McFarlane. He snubbed us, son of a gun. But if I were to go back to a Comic Con, I would probably want one of these versus just putting it in a bag
Mm-hmm.
and a board. This way it's even more
That's
protected
true.
because, you know, whether it's for the value that you're going to get it signed, sealed, and then, that's after you die, your family's going to sell it and that's your kind of inheritance, which probably isn't the best idea to do. But some folks like to do that.
That's how Dakota rationalizes all his comic collecting.
No, Sven, you need to let me buy these because if I have a random heart attack, this is going to set you up for at least a week.
Right.
So
yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, that's a good point too, because like you're not going to get it graded and then get it signed. But then if you didn't necessarily want to just have it in a bag and board where, if it's in your backpack or whatever, it could get bent or crushed or something. So yeah, that makes sense too, that you would just have that, pop it open, get it signed, pop it back in.
Yeah.
Bada boom, bada bing.
A lot less bulky than having to carry around like a whole like shipper container or something like that.
Right.
Which like I've never had anything like super significant signed, or at least I didn't think so. Maybe I should look back at what I've had signed, but next time for spawn number 1, that's probably my more valuable thing I could get signed. Something to keep in mind if you're going to shows and doing that. I think the other thing that's kind of nice is I don't think I would necessarily put every single comic I own in these, but that's also because I'm not getting super expensive comics. Like I'm just getting mostly readers. But for those few, you have options to get like a bundle of 10 and it's a little bit cheaper. So that's kind of a nice thing to like, I probably wouldn't need much more than 10. I don't think. Maybe I would need 2 sets of 10, maybe, but because I want to display and then I want to actually protect the nice ones. The nice ones maybe don't display as well.
It depends upon how much you care about your grandchildren being set up for life. So
that's true. So I don't know, just another thing. You can get them in bulk and you get a little bit of a discount. I think it's like enough to make it kind of like free shipping, but
right. Now, Dakota, I heard you mention earlier there are some opportunities for extra entries in the giveaway. I think it's about time for one of those. So if you would like to have a bonus entry, please work the word Schwarzenegger into your comment, and we will know that you heard this bonus prompt, and you will get a additional entry to win one of these comic capsules with a Conan the Barbarian comic.
So there is your bonus entry. Make sure that you do all of the rules, subscribe, comment, add in the extra comment if you heard it. We've got 4 comic capsules and 4 comics to give away. Next, we're going to be doing a classic X-Men cover, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We're going to be doing this on the Strong Collectors channel that you're watching now, and also on Strong Collectors Comics. So make sure you go over there, subscribe, and then be watching for the giveaways over there. So until next time, stay strong.
I can like hear you a lot. Can you just be a little quieter? Maybe like turn off your noise canceling. I'm working on our future here. Don't you know what I'm doing? Sorry. As you were.